afternoon and welcome to another live from Stray Whisker TV. Now, I could say live 6:05, but of course we're not on 6:05. It's actually 3:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we're only appearing on YouTube, regrettably. So this is where we're going to be from now on. Facebook and Twitter and all those other platforms have been mucking around with their live feed algorithm, and it's been causing a lot of difficulties in the back end. And we want our back end to be clear, and for all clear and present danger to be eliminated from all back ends. If you're new to this madness, this live madness, type in new below. I've noticed there's a couple of people on the live already. First on board, yes, Finn, thank you very much. Oh, look at that. Look at how high you are. Better bring you back down there, actually. Lovely to see you on the live, Finn. Yes, look, some people have said the times are inconvenient for them. Some people are, taking children to school. Others are about to take themselves off to bed. Wherever you are in the world, welcome. If you're about to go to bed and you want to take me with you, I can do that. There's lots of things I can do, and there will be no regrets in the morning, I can tell you. Who else have we got here on the live? Of course, our good friend Shaving with Peg Leg. Hello, sir. How are you going? Nice to see you on the live, on the Facebook live. No, not on the Facebook live, on the YouTube live. We're only on YouTube. That's it. I'm not going to add to any more confusion. We've decided to just stay to YouTube. We can put this on. We can put it up to Facebook later if I so desire. But I just, look, I'm not really happy with what's happening on Facebook at the moment. And I just, they fiddle around with your bit rate and, your resolution. They're not allowing, they only allow 720p. Sometimes I want it at 1080, I want it 4K and all the rest of it. So I want to come across to you in crystal clear, HD. That's the signal I'm trying to send out. And hopefully, if you're joining us, then you'll be doing that on YouTube. You can leave comments below. There are little comments on the side there somewhere, which one I'm not quite sure which side they appear. You can leave your comments there, and I will throw them up. As I want to do. Number of things we'll be talking about today, and all of them are about regrets. Yeah. We might cover the whole idea of buyer's regret, but I was wanting to talk more about the general concept of regrets and this meme that seems to have appeared over the last, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years of no regrets. No regrets, and if you all live by that, then it's a positive thing. It's life affirming. It's wonderful. Everyone that walks around the place saying that they have no regrets is doing really, really well. The evidence would suggest otherwise, and we're going to look at that. If you've bought things that you don't like and you've had some sort of regret, that's fine. But it is what it is, I guess. Now, sound is low. Someone is telling me. Beauty of Scent is telling me that the sound is low. Okay, what are we going to do about this sound? Let's see if we can bring things up a bit. I'm hoping that that is, I don't know if we've, how are we there? Is the sound any better? Let me know, please. I'd like to know. We're doing this on the fly. So, Beauty of Scent. Scent is beautiful too. Let me know if you still think that the sound is low, because yes, it's one of those things that we're now, because we're only streaming to one platform, we're doing this. Regrets getting married the first time. Okay, we will talk about that. I don't know what's happening with the sound. I'm not quite sure what's happening with the sound. It seems all the levels here are fine. Sound is 5, my 5 for me, very excellent. That's really, really good to hear. Yes, as I say, I don't know, and this is one of those things that we will have to get used to as time goes on. Anyway, it is what it is, but we will be staying here from now on because I think that this is probably a better platform for us. As I said, if you're new, type in new below in the comments, and I will introduce you to the rest of the gang that's watching. If you want to find out about these particular lives, please subscribe and hit the little bell. You know the deal. You've been watching YouTube long enough to know that that's what one does. I don't want to force people to do anything. You know, you are a free agent and you can do whatever it is you wish. Right, so without further ado, we can get into a discussion about things that you've bought and you've had regrets about buying. And we could also perhaps even talk about the positives and negatives of that sort of experience. I've had those myself. I've purchased things and then taken them home, and shortly after felt, what the hell have I done? Why have I, why did I buy this? Why did I even get, into this? I shouldn't have done it. It is a thing. It's something that popular psychologist Daniel Pink, you may have heard of him, wrote a book. And this is what sort of got me thinking about this, and I figured that I should share it with you. The book is called The Power of Regret: How Looking Backward Moves Us Forward. Now, this is a thing. I know it sounds like a self-help book, but Daniel Pink interviewed 16,000 people from well over 100 countries around the world and drew together all his observations and sought to tease out what it means when we say that we regret something. If you have disappointment is one thing, regret is another, and we'll try and look at the distinction between those things. But it is, as I say, a modern meme, and I don't know whether it's very helpful. In fact, if you follow Daniel Pink's book, he suggests that it may, in fact, be counterproductive. It may be something which causes a lot of anxiety in people. Running around saying that I have no regrets could actually be harmful rather than do much good to you. So I think this is something that I have kind of felt intuitively, but it's nice to see that the research bears that out, and it seems to be, in lockstep with what modern thinking, particularly around psychological studies. Anyway, look, you've all seen it. We've all seen, these tattoos. People are actually getting tattoos. They're putting these on their, on their botte and saying, I'm going to live life without any regrets. I know, and I'm sure, what it means intuitively, and we understand the sentiment, but I'm just wondering whether it does more harm than good. And this is what I've always wondered. And of course, the book and the research tells us that, in fact, it could be doing some harm. People like to use symbols as well as the words no regret. They use Chinese characters, or they might use other forms of symbolism to show that they are a person with no regrets. And of course, the ubiquitous misspelt, no regrets. I love it. It's a beauty. An absolute farce. You all would have seen it. So what is going on when we have these regrets? Well, if you're to follow, as I say, the line that the book takes is that regrets can be a catalyst for self-improvement or for improving a particular situation. In other words, you've got to go through an experience which is less than favourable. Nobody wants to regret anything. Generally speaking, it is a fairly negative sentiment. It's one that, I've yet to meet someone that says, I want to go through life regretting things. We know that. We know that regret is not something that we try and evade and keep away from regret. And so, it's not something that someone will actively seek out. So, but if we embrace it for what it is, and we've all been through situations in our life where we really regret things, and I know Shaving with Peg Leg said that marriage may have been one of them, relationships, investment decisions, It could be any number of things. So, trusting someone with something that was very near and dear to you and being betrayed that way, and then regretting that you actually told that person, that it was, maybe you shouldn't have, shared what you shared with that person. These things are a catalyst, though, for self-improvement. There is a self-correcting process that generally happens after you've had an experience which resulted in regret. Different to disappointment. For example, with disappointment, you may have had a disappointing experience which was well and truly out of your hands. You may have been gifted something which you didn't really care for. I mean, it was nice that you were gifted something, but you have no regrets about a gift you've received because there was no agency as far as you making the decision to purchase something. Regret is slightly different because regret may occur because you've made a decision. You made a decision at some point in the past about taking on an experience, a product, a relationship, an investment, or whatever it is, and then you've come to the point where you think, why did I do that? The mind goes through this mental time machine and goes back to that moment and says, look, I wish I hadn't have done this. That process is actually a positive thing. I know some losses are greater than others, but that process is a positive thing. And Daniel Pink believes that it is this catalyst, this part of the mechanism which is normal, which is completely normal, and drives our decisions. In fact, what he talks about in his book is he takes a portfolio approach. And in a portfolio, you could have a portfolio of investments, I don't know. Some things could be in equities, others could be in cash, other things could be in property or whatever. You wouldn't put all of your hard-earned cash into one asset class. You would spread it out. You would diversify. Diversification gives you some protection. It gives you, in the long run, so the wisdom goes, it gives you a greater, there's a greater propensity for you not to be exposed to excessive risk. Diversification is the important thing here. And having regret or wanting to go through life with no regrets means that you want to eliminate all forms of diversification. Yes, it would be great to live in a world and to live a life where there's no regret. It just isn't going to happen, okay? We interact with other human beings. Life is what it is. You need to have that. There has to be that element of fear. Look, imagine if we didn't have fear. We'd probably be dead by now because fear averts certain dangers. It puts us in a position where we don't fear, where we don't, keep ourselves in danger. Anyway, this is the first thing that he says. This is one of the major takeaways from the book. The other thing is that it's part of the experience of feeling human. So often I see on Facebook groups, and particularly Shave the Man and other groups I've seen, that people will comment on an experience they've had, and they would say, look, I bought this and I regret buying it. I guess this is why we have buy, sell and trade groups. You can go and, if you don't like something, just flip it, okay? Simple as that. No point moping and going on and on and whining about it. If you don't like something, get rid of it, okay? But that is part of what forms the human experience. In other words, we kind of have to go through this in order to become a little more discerning about the things that we do like. In other words, you have to go through some pain, this whole no pain, no gain stuff, and in order for you to feel an enriched and a much more beneficial experience for you. I know that some things are really, really hard and very painful. I understand that. But as long as you're not hurting anyone or yourself, then I think going through that experience is actually a positive thing, because from that you can take and you'll be able to glean what is good for you and what isn't. And I think that's one of the key takeaways from the book. I'll throw the book up again. There it is there. The Power of Regret, Daniel H. Pink. It is not sponsored or anything like that. I'm not selling books or anything like that. I just think that I should share this with you. I think it's very important. It's part of self-development. It's a great book. It's by Daniel H. Pink. It's only about 260 pages. It's a great read. And he uses a number of anecdotes and stories to bring home his point. Right, the third takeaway from the book is that we need to go through this three-step process. So when you've had that regretful experience, when you've had that experience where things have been absolutely terrible, right? he suggests you do three things. The first thing you should do is you've got to gain a perspective on the regret that you've had. In other words, think about it. Is it really that bad? I mean, is it going to be the end of the world because you've had this horrible experience? So gain some perspective. In other words, look at it for what it is. Some things are costly. I understand that. But if you're having, if you're having feelings of regret because you've purchased a $24 soap or, a $60 brush or something like that, and this consumes you for the next 3 years, there may be a problem there. Just saying, right? Self-reflection. Think about it. This is important. The other thing you need to do, according to Daniel Pink, I want to be prescriptive here, but as I say, this book is great, is to bring out those feelings in the open. In other words, bring them out, and I'm not saying share them with people, share them with yourself, right? Gain perspective, bring it out in the open and say, right, does this really matter? It just means that next time I'm probably not going to make those decisions, or I'm not going to buy that particular product, or I'm not going to have, I'm not going to place so much emphasis on that particular experience because last time it was kind of disappointing. It didn't quite live up to the expectations, right? It's a lot of self-talk here and breaking things down and looking at things and peeling away all these layers, exfoliating the experience, if you like. And the third thing that he suggests, as this major takeaway from the book, is that you imagine your future self speaking to your current self. In other words, if you could somehow have you call yourself or write yourself an email from 10 years in the future, would it really matter? Ask yourself, is this really going to matter? Is the colour of these tennis shoes that I bought really a problem in 5 or 6 or 7 years' time or 10 years' time? And so in doing that, you can see what he's trying to do. He's suggesting that self-talk, and saying, right, I've had this experience, it wasn't ideal, but it's not the end of the world, will help us. Rather than getting bogged down with, my God, why did I buy this? Why did I do this? And all the rest of it. It's fairly self-explanatory. I'm not suggesting that, and neither is he, suggesting that you go out and you actively seek negative experiences. But it's one of those things. Finn, RAD, yes, razor acquisition disorder, yes. That could be one of those things. Look, it's interesting, when you collect things or when you're part of a hobby, you need to build into that, into your mindset, into your mental schema, if you like, an inevitable disappointment in the future at some stage. I'll say that again. I'm getting into a hobby of shaving, let's say. I have to expect that not every experience that I have in this hobby, be it with other people, with vendors, with a product, with how a product works, is going to be optimal. There are going to be times where it's not going to be right. If I know this because I've had previous moments of regret in my life with other aspects, whatever they are, then I'm probably going to approach RAD, this razor acquisition disorder, or BAD, brush acquisition disorder, or SOAP, or SAD, whatever, all the ads, a little more philosophically, to be a little more pensive about it. I can't recall ever having felt that the world was coming to an end when I'd used a soap that didn't quite live up to my expectations. I quietly put it down, thought about it for a moment and said, okay, I'm going to give this soap another go. I'm using shaving soap because obviously this is a lot of our friends from shaving have tuned in. I'm just going to give this another go and I'll see how it goes. And if after a second and even a third chance it's not for me, I'm just going to say, right, that's it. But I don't think I will be harbouring feelings of regret for longer than 15 minutes. I think that's even too long. For me. Now, if I was ripped off and someone took $15,000 from me in an investment or something like that, that is a different story. But again, I would have to try and get the sort of the lessons, the hard lessons, the very, very hard and painful lessons from that particular experience, and use those to inform my future decisions. That's it. And in a nutshell, this is what Daniel Pink is saying in his book, The Power of Regret. He's actually saying that regret is a good thing and it is a powerful thing. It is a catalyst for change. It allows you to make informed decisions about things which sometimes can be duds in life. Look, there are duds everywhere. Okay, it just is what it is. Don't be hard on that experience. And probably, if you want to get a tattoo, I understand the sentiment. Most of us do. But I've seen this on so many people lately, and it's almost as if they're trying to convince themselves that they're living a life of no regrets, or if they've had regrets. I can guarantee you people that have these tattoos have probably had a regret or two. We all have. It's part of the human experience. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So what happens if you're in a situation where you purchase something from a vendor and the experience was subpar? Please contact the vendor and speak with them. Please speak with them. Have a conversation with them, a frank discussion with them, and say, look, this didn't really work for me, and these are the reasons. Can you suggest, are there any reasons perhaps where this may not, why this wasn't what I expected in this particular product? Has this been the experience of other people? In other words, approach it in a way that previous regretful experience produced that catalyst and that mental schema of, oh no, this isn't good, I don't like what I've received, and break it down that way, and then approach the person and say, look, I'm just wondering if this has been the experience of other people as well. And you'll be surprised at how that experience will change for you. So, in summarising, regrets are to be embraced. A life lived without regret is probably an impoverished life. It's not something that we should aspire. We should try and minimise regret. Let's not get it wrong. It's not going around saying, oh my God, I want regrets everywhere. Let's be sensible. Minimise regret, but don't place so much emphasis on everything being super positive and, oh, isn't it amazing? Everything was amazing. Everything was fantastic. I loved everything about it. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And the risk of sounding like someone that's stating the bleeding obvious, this is something that I have gained a lot from in reading that book. And it's also made me think about how others might perceive and think things. I mean, in our business, I've had to take the perspective of both the consumer, but also the person that sells it. So I've got to take, because I'm a consumer as well. I buy stuff as well. And so this was an insight into how we think. See, and this is not because of any experience that it's happened. It's just it's something that I've been thinking about lately. When somebody has a suboptimal experience and they tell you about it, I see that as an opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's you say, this is something that I can improve on. I can change. I can make a change in this person's life, or I can say, no, I regret selling this to that particular person, or whatever, or regret bringing in this product and providing it, in our business. It shouldn't be viewed that way. But I know that human emotions get in the way, and sometimes you get a bit miffed by things. Leon, lovely to see you on the live. I hope all your duties have been. I know that you've got some things to do in the afternoons, but it was lovely of you to join us at 3:55 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well, I guess that's probably about it. It was lovely to see you, Leon. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Let us know. I mean, what have your experiences been with, have you had buyer's regret, as we all have had, and has it turned into something that became quite nasty, or was it something that you were just resigned to and said, look, this stuff happens? I have found that as I've gotten older, those challenges have become less prominent with me. I don't allow myself to become affected by this. If I've had a rotten meal at a restaurant, I just don't go back there. Or if I have had a great experience somewhere, I make sure I tell all my friends about it. And sometimes there are public displays of affection towards that business product or service. But generally speaking, I just think life's too short. I'm just going to get on with it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I don't think it's, I don't know. If it's going to help someone, then for goodness sake, do it. And if it's going to improve someone's life, then do it. If it isn't, probably think about it. I don't know. That's me. I mean, I'm just sharing that. That's just my own personal experience. Okay, before this gets so viscous and syrupy and so sickly sweet, I should probably leave the building. It's been what? How long have we been here? We've been here for 26 minutes and 45 seconds. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next live, and from now on, as I said, they will be on YouTube. I want to just, I'm as I said, sick of Facebook and all that stuff. Well, I might post this up on Facebook. I don't know as yet. Well, it's already there, I guess. So if people just press the button, they'll be sent to this video. But that's it. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and press the little button so annoyingly you can receive a notification or not. We'll see you in the next live. Bye-bye.